Are you a parent of a child experiencing autism? And is your child going to a mainstream school? Or are you want to enroll your child with autism in a mainstream school? Do you know that majority of the children with autism struggle through the mainstream school? Do you want to know the reasons why? Then today's video will be very useful to you. Today I am going to talk about 10 reasons why children experiencing autism struggle in mainstream schools. Stay tuned. Hi, welcome to my channel Dignity in Disability, and I'm Anuradha Deshpande, mother of a young man experiencing intellectual disability, and I'm also a banker turned clinical psychologist, counselor, and a special educator, founder of Care and Care Life Skill Academy, and this pandemic turned me into a digital disability life skill coach. And through my channel Dignity in Disability, I bring 2 weekly episodes of Tuesday Facts and Friday Facts. And in today's Friday Facts, I'm going to outline 10 reasons why our children with autism struggle in mainstream schools. This video will give us a lot of insight into how we can prepare our children for the mainstream school so that they can succeed. When we talk about a child with autism, there is a saying that if you meet a child with autism, you have met one child with autism. That is the kind of uniqueness they have. And each child has unique needs and unique challenges and unique strength. So when they go to mainstream school, some of them thrive very well and get ahead, but some of them really struggle. For many autistic children, school environment is the most toughest environment they face, and for reasons none of us can even imagine. By the time they are ready for school, they would have just managed to adjust in the home environment. And transitioning from home to school is, as it is, a very difficult proposition even for typically developing kids. So more so with children with autism, this transitioning is very, very difficult. And added to it are these 10 reasons which I'm going to present before you, which makes it more difficult for them to cope with the school environment. So let us look into it one by one. The first one is sensory dysfunction. As we all know, majority of the kids experiencing autism spectrum disorder also have sensory processing disorder, and it's very challenging for them to face a diverse environment where things are not conducive to their sensory needs. For example, in a typical mainstream school, you will see hallways full of kids yelling and shouting. And then there are fluorescent lights and the electric bell buzzing and echoing in the big rooms like the assembly room or an audiovisual room. All these are something a child with sensory processing disorder will find it very difficult to manage. So along with their learning and studies and making friends, which is, as it is very difficult for them, they have to face the challenge of being in an environment which is not conducive to their sensory needs. The second reason is difficulty in following instructions. Most of the learning in a mainstream school happens through instructions. The teacher comes, reads and instructs, and the children follow these instructions and act accordingly. But for a child with autism, following instructions are very difficult. The reason for this is they take a lot of time in processing a question asked to them and also to retrieve the proper response and answer. So they cannot manage too many instructions at a time. And this becomes a big impediment for them to learn through instructional method in a mainstream school. So the third reason is difficulty in reading and verbal comprehension. Most of the children experiencing autism spectrum disorder find it very difficult to read and learn. And whenever something is explained verbally, their comprehension is not up to the mark. And in a mainstream school, along with instructions, there is reading and explanation, verbal explanation by the teachers, which is very, very difficult for children experiencing autism to follow, understand, and comprehend. And hence, they find it very difficult to understand and keep up with their assignments. The next reason is impairment in fine and gross motor skills. Fine motor skills are very critical for writing, drawing, cutting, pasting, and to manipulate very small objects like a tweezer or a microscope and other equipments. And gross motor skills are essential for play activities, running, jumping, skipping, throwing, catching, etc. Along with that, they also need motor planning to properly execute some of the requirements of a game. Most of the children in the autism spectrum disorder have mild to moderate impairment in gross and fine motor skills. Both academics and play is a very important aspect of scholastic and social development of a mainstream school. And since our children with autism struggle in this field, they always have lesser opportunity to participate and develop both scholastic and social skills. The next reason for the struggle is lack of executive function. Executive function is an ability to manage a project right from planning to executing, taking into consideration the project parameters, the timeline required for that, and other many factors. In the context of a mainstream school, a child or a student have to manage things like home assignments, then project work, then event management, sports activities, and many other things. And typically, majority of the children in the autism spectrum disorder have problem in executive functioning. They don't like to switch from one activity to another activity or from one topic to another topic as easily as other neurotypical kids can do. Since this is a major hallmark required for anybody in life and which starts at the mainstream school, our children with autism find it very difficult to get into that mode. The next is social communication. Almost everyone in the autism spectrum disorder have social communication problems. Sometimes these problems are very obvious and severe. Even if your child is very high functioning, navigating through the daily need of conversing with the peer, with the teacher, and other circumstances in a school can be very challenging to them. In school, social interactions are very common and they constantly change. What is appropriate in a classroom may not be appropriate in a hall or in a gym or in the playground. The social cues which often tell the child to change their social behavior is often very difficult for children with autism to pick up. due to lack of social communication. Most of these children in the spectrum cannot differentiate between a playful teasing to bullying and sarcasm from a statement of fact. Because of the ever changing situation in the social communication from year after year, a child with autism often feel left out and they cannot catch up with the changes and hence cannot participate in all activities and can feel very isolated. The next reason is changes in rules and expectations. We all know that with the change in the academic year, there are some new changes happening around the students also. With new teachers coming in, there are new expectations from them, and the new set of teachers will give you some set of new rules. And this is the same with your classmates too. The classmates may or may not change, but what was cool last year is no longer cool this year. And children who often cannot change according to this changed situation are not looked upon very nicely. For children with autism, these changes can be very overwhelming. And if they don't fit into the mold of the other typically developing children, then they are often ridiculed and censured by people who don't understand their different way of functioning. The next reason is changes in routines. Children with autism thrive on routines and schedules. Although school life is very structured and have specific goals, even then they are prone to rapid developments and changes, which even a neurotypical kid finds it very challenging. And these include special events, a substitute teacher, an outing, or a rainy day, or even school holidays. And these changes are even more disruptive to children with autism who don't like to change on demand. Also, in a well equipped mainstream school, there will be having resource rooms and special counseling session for these children. So, to shift from the main classroom to go into a special ed room or a resource room is also another aspect of change in routine which these children with autism have to undergo. The next reason is tolerance to the behaviors of children with autism. Teachers are also people, and like people, they have different levels of tolerance and empathy towards things which are considered to be abnormal. For example, many teachers get upset when children with autism go on talking about a particular subject of their interest, or when they fail to collaborate with their peers, or suddenly they start rocking or flapping their hands or moving in an unexpected way. Besides, the teacher can also expect that everyone in the classroom should progress at a similar rate and may censure a child who is not typically developing according to their expectations. In such cases, the child will be consciously left behind rather than getting connected with the proper tutors to enhance their program and be also a part of the regular school setting. It is often seen that children with autism are bullied in school by their peers who are not in a position to understand that these children function and behave differently. Finally, the last but not the least, most of the schools, especially in India, are not equipped enough to take care of all the needs of special needs children. And even if they are equipped, they are not equipped enough to take care of the individual needs of a child with autism in terms of their sensory needs, their communication needs, and their behavioral needs. So, what options do parents have? Number one is find out a school which can nearly satisfy all your needs. Number 2, prepare your child well in advance to what is going to come in the future. Number 3, find out the possibility of having an assistant or a shadow teacher with your child. But be very careful in choosing the shadow teacher. Shadow teacher is going to be a person who is going to facilitate the teacher students with your child. They should know how to communicate with the child and definitely not through instructions. And number 4 is trying out various options of schooling and not get stuck only in the mainstream schooling. Although social skills, integration, mainstream schooling are all very, very important for every one of us, more important is how comfortable is your child learning, or is your child learning at all, or imposed with robotic learning which the child is never going to be able to apply in the real life. Think it over. That's all from Friday Facts, and if you like this video, share with as many parents as possible so that it will help that many students to learn in the right way. And also like and share your comments, and also subscribe to my channel for the notification for all the videos I upload in future. To join my exclusive Facebook, the details are given in the description, and explore more on www.anuradhadeshpande.com. That's the end of Friday Facts, and I will see you on Tuesday with another edition of Skill Building. Till then, goodbye. Take good care of yourselves. See you then.